Hey, g'day guys, it's Adam from VideoShowMeHow, and in this video I am excited about this one. It's a how-to. We're continuing the build on the D-MAX, and we're going to be starting the overland, the touring, the back tub setup today. I've had a heap of you guys asking me around, Adam, what's the plan? What are you doing with this? Are you going to canopy? What's the geo? Well, today it starts because we are going to be going step by step on how to install HSP's new roller cover. It's fully electronic, buttons on the side, it's even got an app and it syncs to your key, which is pretty awesome. It has full integrated tub lighting as well to solve that issue, and it also is compatible with the new load bars that go over the top of the tub, which are easily strong enough to hold a rooftop tent and that kind of jazz. You can see where we're going with this one. Now, there will be a full second video on the roller cover. I'll link that in the video description of this particular video. That one will be a full overview, the ins and outs and how one of these works. For this video though, we are going to get stuck into how to install one of these in true Video Show Me How style, a full step-by-step, and how you can install one of these roller covers yourself onto the back of your ute, your dual cab. I am super excited about this one. Let's get started. So step one is to prep everything, which means we need to rip everything out of the box. So we need to unbox everything that's inside there and see what we get everything all laid out. And then the second part is we want to prepare your D-MAX, removing all of the factory manual roller cover or whatever you've got there at the moment. You want to get all of that guy off and then get cracking on step two. And here we go. Here is everything that comes in the box. As you can see, everything is included. The next step we need to do is to start to drill a couple of holes, and that's mainly for our water exits. So we need to do one over here and one over here. So let's grab our hole saw and get started on that. So here we go. We want to come in 100. And once we've got our 100 in, we want to come down 215 from the top of the tub. So we can measure that one out. 215 is about there. So here we go, X marks the spot right there. That's where we need our 30 mil, and only 30 mil, don't go any bigger because you need the rubber grommet to fit in there nicely. So one hole there, then we need to rinse and repeat on the other side. There we go, one 30 mil hole, which is looking excellent. We didn't manage to dent the heck out of our tub either, so that's even better. From here, remember to rust proof with some black paint just around any of the bare steel there, so you're nice and rust proof. We need to do the same on the other side, vacuum up all of our swarf, and then we can move on to the next step. Right, so our new and improved holes are nice and drilled, but we are good to go here. Wait for your paint to be all nice and dry. While you are waiting, it's recommended that you seal up any of your gaps along the side here. Now, you would have seen in previous videos that I've wrapped a line to the tub, so I went to town doing that in any case. But if you do have any gaps, it's recommended to seal those up now. You should probably get something like this, some Sika 227. That is excellent stuff, and it's fast curing as well. So once you've done that and everything is all nice and sealed all the way around here, once this is dry, our next step is to install our little grommets. Now they look a little bit like this. We've got one for either side, of course. Now you've got a big end and a little end. The big end is the one you want to jam through the hole, and down here you want to sort of squish it together just a little bit like that. Get it through there, and then you'll see that down in the gap here there's a little bit of a slot. You want to pull it back through until that slot is sitting nice and flush. Should look a little bit like that. Now we just got to do the other side and we can move on to the next step. So coming along nicely, our next step is to do some wiring looms. And the first one we want to do, we want to grab our battery loom, this guy here. We want to disconnect our battery fuse, which is already nice and fused, so we can pull him out. This is our fuse on the end, so we just want to disconnect that. Standard automotive connections, just like that. We can set that to the side. And if you bring it over to the tub passenger side, we want to thread it through to our battery, which obviously lives about there. So same as what we've done when we did the installs with the HSP tailgate locks and that sort of jazz. You can run it down and under the chassis rail up underneath. Now to get it up to there though, there is a little gap in the top of our tub. So up underneath here on the corners, there's a little gap that drops back down all the way down to the bottom. So that's where we're going to feed it through. You want to have the Deutsch connector hanging out this side about 30 centimeters. The rest you can feed up underneath here and then down underneath, zip tie to the top of the chassis rail and have it poke out where our battery is. So here we go, we are ready to go. We have our loom up this end. We can finalise that towards the end. We've got that run all the way underneath. There's plenty of wiggle room, so you don't have to go to town making it super tight. And here we go, here's our 200, sort of 300, a little bit of length left over. Now the next step is we want to do pretty well exactly the same, but with our CL loom. So this is the one for central locking. We want to do exactly the same thing over this side, up underneath here, exactly the same. We want to feed it up through there. Once again, leave our sort of 200 to 300 length under here. Same story, a zip tie, zip tie, zip tie, zip tie. The difference here is we want to land underneath here. We want to land under here where our kick pad is for the driver's side. So to get into there, you would have seen in previous videos, there is a grommet on this side. It is sticking down in here where we have our extra loom running to for our rear tailgate lock for HSP. We're going to go into the same one. It's this guy down in there. We want to feed it through the same spot so that it spits out down the bottom, ready to connect our patch harness to our little connectors in here. So that's our next step. Let's get cracking on that. Then come around to the inside, and this is the kick pad. So we can see that here's our cable ready to go, zip ties. You're going to need a 10mm socket here. And then up underneath here, you can see here is our little bolt just here. We just need to remove that guy, remove our kick pad here. It's our little plastic little nut here, so you can pop that to the side. Once you've got that undone, the kick pad here can come out. Just a matter of pulling out our little side sill pad there, pop that to the side. There's a little clip here for this kick pad, which you should be able to then remove. Pull it across and just remove it, and then that exposes our harnesses here. So this is where we want to be at. From here, we need to grab our little Y connector from our kit, so we can come back over. That's our little Y splitter here. So we need to get our central locking split out, get this ready to go. Then we can bring this guy back over to our kick pad, and then we need to find the equivalent little plug that plugs into our Y splitter here. And if we have a look at all of our harnesses here, the one that's tucked around at the back is the one we're after. And then with our little patch cable here, it's just a matter of popping that one in line. So clip it straight back in, wait for the click. Same story with the other side. Can only be oriented one way till they both clip in just like that. And then of course, on the other end, these two should be able to clip together. So we can go ahead and clip them in now. That'll click in there just like that. Once you've got that in place, I'd recommend just leaving this here for the moment until we finish the install at the back there. Once we've confirmed everything is functioning as correctly, you want to tuck all of this wiring up in the side here, all nice and neat. Use the extra couple of zip ties to zip tie everything safely out of the way, and then reassemble the kick pad and side sill connectors so that you're all nice and done inside. The next step is starting to assemble. So we've got both of our left and right side rails, and they now need to be clipped or bolted to our actual canister, our curtain itself. So to make it nice and easy, it's recommended to grab those little blocks that came with the box, so you've got something to sit the canister on. So you want to take that guy off. We want to sit it down on the ground so that we're ready to move on to connecting our side rails up to the canister. Right, so once our rail is sitting supported with the polystyrene that came with, the next step is to do side by side. We want to start with the rail that has our buttons in it. This is going to be our passenger side. So just get your orientation right. Obviously this is going to sit on top of the D-MAX that way in the back there. So this is our passenger side over here. The other side is going to be our driver's side. So we can start with our side that has our buttons, pretty easily identifiable because you've got this extra little box here. And then from here, it's a matter of just these 4 bolts. We need to undo each of those so we can get this plate ready to go. And then from there, we can slot in our side rail. So there we go. Once all of our screws are out, we're ready to install our side panel. Once you're ready to go, grab your side rail itself, and you can see what's happening here, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of our bolt holes. They're going to line up with what we just removed on the main curtain unit. And then we can see as well, here's our big slot mark here. And that big slot is designed to orient into the slot here at the back. So you want to grab your side rail, we want to slot it down here as we go. You can gently lift the curtain up so it's in the right position, and then our little white rollers here are designed to slot into place underneath our actual rail. So once we're all lined up here, you can see we just need to push that down a little bit more so that it's in place. Get all that lined up. You'll see around our motor here as well, everything's all nice and lined up. So just squish that down into place. Make sure on the other side it's all nice and aligned with the curtain as well. And then grab your bolts and bolt this back into place. And there we go, we have all 4 bolts in place, 1, 2, 3, 4. We should have our harness nice and loose here, ready to be connected. So we can pull that tape away there as well now, so they're nice and free. And the other thing to check is just around here on the Z little seal that sits in here, we want to make sure that this little Z seal just in there, that is sitting over the top of the curtain itself, so that it has that nice weatherproof seal around the side here, so that you can see it seals nice and tight around there. So just make sure that that's not crazy tucked down. It should be facing that way, not that way. So just keep an eye on that one. Once that one is all nice and secured, it's time to move on to our other rail, so we can grab that guy and head over to the other side. Now over this side, a little bit different. We are still wanting to effectively do the same thing as far as lining up the piece on the side rail. But we've got an added complexity that here lives our motor. This is the unit that opens and closes our curtain overall. So to get into our 4 bolts underneath, same as the other side, is we need to remove this guy first. Just want to remember this orientation. That's the way that we want to have this as well. Stay away from anything yellow. We don't want to open the motor up itself. We just want to remove it. So 1, 2, and 3. Undo those. They're a long bolt. So you want to pull each of those out so that you can access our normal screws like we did on the other side. And then it's just the same. We want to rinse and repeat. Slot that down into place. Be mindful of your Z seal on the connector as well, so that goes that way in over the curtain itself, and then you can rebolt the motor itself back into place. So there we go, there's all of our 3s. Our little side rail is all connected. Now, when it comes to reinstalling our motor, there's just one thing we want to make sure. You want to make sure that our little rubber bushes here are in that orientation. And the final thing to bear in mind is the connector here needs to line up to the connector of our actual curtain itself. So just be mindful of that. Line up all of our screw holes and bolt it back into place. Now at this point, we're almost complete assembly. From our spares, you want to grab our extra 2 seals. They're little D seals just like this. And then you can see our little gap just here. So we just want to align that up to where the existing D seal is. You can see how it's an extension of what we already have there. We want to get our little length, and then you want to trim off any excess. So for us, it's about that long. We're going to trim off our little bit at the end here. We want to tape that into place so that it is ready to install onto our tub. So there we go, we have our little D seals in place, same as over the other side. Now for here, the next step is to connect up our wiring loom here. You can't really go wrong here, just line up each of these to the specific plugs. The one that you want to be mindful of is the Deutsch plug, this one here. You won't have a friend for, because that one is sitting in the back of our tub. So this one you can leave off to the side. That's a final connection when we put this inside the tub. The other 3 though, you want to connect up now though, so it's ready to go. And the final step now, before we put this guy into the tub, is probably one of the most satisfying things you can do, certainly is for me, is peeling this stuff off. Piece of stainless or technology, love this part. So take your time if you're weird like me. Peel this off, revealing our lovely shiny stainless steel surface underneath, and then we can get ready to put this guy into the tub. So there we go, we are all ready to roll here. Everything is all nice and shiny, looking excellent, just the way we like it. From here, it's time to grab a couple of mates. Ideally you want 4, but at least 1 on either side. You want to be really careful at this point that you don't go grabbing particularly the ends here and twisting this out of shape or anything like that. So take your time here. You want to lift this guy up, and we want to pop it on top of your tub. And here we go, we are in place. How good does that look? That is excellent. So we want to make sure we are all nice and squared out. But there we go, we've got it on. Now we can move on to the next step. And that is grabbing our canister lid. This guy here, we're running out of parts. That's always a good sign. You want to grab your end caps here. It's got some pretty sweet roller cover branding on the side, pretty good. So bust into that. They should just clip into place with our 2 screw holes there and there. Same on the other end. Then we're going to grab our 4 screws, a 3mm Allen key, and we can take the whole lot over to the tub. And then no surprises to where this goes. It slots over the back of our canister to keep all that nice and clean. You want to get the furry section, this bit here, the little bit of a broom. As the curtain goes back into the canister, it's giving that a bit of a clean, stopping all the schmutz from going in here. You want to just pull that across, so that it drops into place just a little bit like that. Once your bolt holes are all aligned, you want to grab a couple of the bolts that you brought over and then screw these guys into place. Now we're getting close now, guys. From here, you want to grab your clamps. You want to grab a 5mm Allen key here as well, and then jump into the tub. We want to have a look at underneath here, and you can see each of our little mounting clips, our little sections where we need to put our bracket underneath and then tighten that down. And the idea here is we are using our clamp system here. That's going to connect in at the top of the lip of underneath our tub to clamp it into position. This is the hole we want to come through. So we just want to line that up, and then we can torque this into place, making sure that our M8 bolt is still into position at the back here. So you don't want to go crazy tight though. You want to keep it a little bit loose, because our next step is to use our little adjustment points here, our pre-installed nutset, so that we can adjust this back and forth if we need to. Then once we've got it in place like this, we just need to move on to do the other 2 on this side and then the 3 on the other side. And then once you have all of those all in place, we just want to put our adjustment screw and plate in like this. So it should look a little bit like that. What we want to do is we want to get our plate first. We want to pop that underneath. That's giving you some protection against your tub for the screw itself. Then you want to get our bolt here. We want to thread this through our pre-installed riv nut. Bolt on the other side as a tightening mechanism so we can keep that secure once it's in place. And then once it is there, we want to adjust it with our Allen key here until we can see that we have at least 1 millimeter of gap here between our tailgate. So once you've got it all in place, just pop the tailgate up, and then from there you want to just double check. This is the section here. We want to have 1 millimeter gap in between here. So you can pop your Allen key back in there. Then we can adjust this up or down until we get that pretty much spot on. Our little gap there, only 1 mil, so only just slightly. Then once it's in place, we can pop the tub down, get onto our locking nut underneath, tighten that right up. Once we're all lined up, we're all torqued down, and we are all installed, we want to connect up our connections. There's only one on this side and one on that side. We've got central locking and our power over here. We can connect those up. We can then grab our last remaining part, our little wiring loom here, come back around to our engine bay, and we can finally install this into place. Just remember to make sure everything is nice, tidy and secured here, so it's all tucked out of the way. And then our final step before we can give this guy a test is to install our little water gutters underneath. You can see up under here there is a perfect hole, same as when we installed it into the back of the tub here. Just need to push all the way through and then pull it until it's in position. Once they're in place, we can final connect that battery and get stuck into giving this a test. So we're all in, we've got everything all plugged up. We've got our harness at the front all plugged in and our connections ready to go. From here, we need to grab our keys and then we can give it a test. So it should look like you just need to unlock. And here we go, we can see that our buttons have activated here. And then if we just hold down on that one, ta-da, check it out. How awesome is that? We are closing right up. Nice and sealed against our tailgate tub here as well. That's why we want to get that alignment spot on here to make sure that we've got the right sized gap. We can see, here's our light. Let's go the other way. Just hold the button down. And there we go. Oh, and check that out. There's our light. There's our light bar running across the back, and what a difference that makes to the tub as well. That is excellent to see. Good stuff. So we are working, we've confirmed that. From here we want to head around inside the driver's footwell there and make sure all of that is nice and tidied up. We then want to just make sure our wiring at the front is also nice and tidied and buttoned up. Then from there, we've only really got one step left. And that last step is really around sort of bedding in the roller cover and the curtain to the track. So I recommend coming over and grabbing the last part of our kit, which is some of the Lubricate spray that HSP includes. We can pull that out of our container, and it's just recommended to use some of the spray here, just a very light spray along our track, nothing too crazy, just a little bit to add a little bit of lubrication so that it's good to go. And then it's a matter of opening and closing our tub here a total of about 15 times. So the reason for that is you just want to bed that in so that everything is all nice and aligned and ready to go. I think that is pretty cool. I'll make sure I overlay some night shots in about here so that you can see just how effective that light bar is in lighting up the tub. And as you can see, it is pretty good, particularly when you open up your tailgate here and you've got all of that nice lighting. All of this basically turns into a great big boot, which is pretty cool. Very big fan. Now, like we said at the start of the video, there will be a full second video on the features and benefit of this roller cover, but then also how to set up your keys and what the different features do, because you can have that so that you don't even need to press the buttons. It can work via your fob, but then also via your mobile phone. There's an app that syncs into this that gives you that sort of functionality as well. You can even open and close it from the driver's seat if you want, because it syncs up via the phone and the app. So we'll cover that off in that full video. But other than that, guys, that is the full install of the HSP roller cover. It is an awesome bit of kit and really is a serious upgrade to the existing tonneau cover or the existing roller tub cover that comes with your D-MAX or lots of other utes. Now, as well as that, we are definitely going to be investigating our little track along here in a lot more detail, because the cool thing with this is this can carry a load. Not like your factory ones where you can't really put anything at all on the side and you can't take advantage of this. You definitely can with these, which is pretty cool, and that's what this line here is. So there is an excellent product that's just come out that enables this to be taken advantage of to carry a bit of load. And then I reckon as part of this overland build, there could probably be something on top of that. So I'm really, really excited to show you what that looks like. So if you're not subscribed to the channel as yet, make sure you do down below so you can see those videos when they come out. Of course, big thanks to the patrons of Video Show Me How for your extra support, guys. Thanks as always. But other than that, guys, as always, I hope that you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.